Ballad of a Small Player is the latest festival film shackled to a Netflix release and sent straight to streaming. It's about charlatan Lord Doyle, who has gone to the gambling capital of the world, Macau, in order to fuel his gambling addiction.
There is one thing I must draw attention to, and that is how the film looks. Listen, I'm a sucker for big, bold, vibrant colours, and Ballad of a Small Player certainly delivers those. The neon cityscape of Macau, with all of its casinos and blue-tinted buildings, looks so beautiful. The colours are made out to look as maximalist as the highs of gambling, amplifying the drugged-up atmosphere Lord Doyle perceives Macau as having. I can't stress how immaculate the colouring is in this film. Each article of clothing Lord Doyle wears to the settings he inhabits, the primary thing that I noticed was just how the teals, reds and greens pop so loudly and brashly in order to lift up the kind of meandering screenplay. I also really loved James Friend's positioning of the camera a lot of the time, particularly during the scenes where Farrell's Lord Doyle is playing Baccarat. The ultra-wide lenses distort and contort his face into captivating images. It may be a matter of personal preference. I do love ultra-wide lenses and have since I first got a glimpse of them in the trailers for Poor Things, but fisheye lenses, Ballad of a Small Player utilises a 12mm, just added technical element of cinematography which does a great deal of creating the fantastical elements. This is especially important in a film where the setting is meant to be grounded with an extent of realism, so delegating the role of providing the surrealist air and vibe of the film from mise-en-scène to the camera work allows the audience to witness the formalism through a technical lens. Colin Farrell is also certainly doing something with his performance as Lord Doyle. His accent takes a little while to get used to, but if you pair the oddities of his behaviour with the fact that Lord Doyle is an act and the thrills of gambling are essentially portrayed as euphoric highs, the cartoonish performance comes across as being more charming than annoying, which is a finer line than I would have expected from a Colin Farrell performance. The man's a chameleon, and when the script can provide some semblance of character like this one does, he just takes off. However, the script comes across as a little flat and meandering, particularly after my viewing of Urchin, which does tackle similar themes of self-destruction through a surrealist perspective, so I've just kind of had that sort of narrative on my mind lately. Hence it's difficult to watch Ballad of a Small Player, with its more cartoonish take on the absurd. Don't get me wrong, that is what I dug about the film, and take it exclusively on its own terms. It's entertaining, and doesn't go too far into the central protagonist the film acts as a character study of. The film also tries its hand at more blatant surrealism. On paper, I think the realised fantasies could have worked, but they're not as ingrained into the film's being, leaving them to come across as jarring in their scarcity. A slight tweak I would have suggested is to start using the fantastical surreal more frequently and earlier than it already is, as it emerges at around the 3/4 mark, roughly. There is a particular subplot which emerges throughout, following Doyle's hostile relationship with Cynthia, a private detective played by the great Tilda Swinton. Given the focus maintained on Doyle's gambling issues and debts, this relationship is never as explored as it could have been, and it brings the pacing to a halt each time, which is disastrous. I love Tilda Swinton, but the film isn't pointed in that direction, which makes the subplot a bit janky, a tad rushed. I don't dislike Edward Berger as a director, but if his filmography thus far has proven anything to me, it is that he is one of the better journeyman directors of recent times. He can communicate images, albeit doesn't appear to add much of a distinct voice to said images. There isn't anything wrong about that, it is simply an observation. But there are many filmmakers who I think could have tackled the premise in a similar manner to what Berger demonstrates with the final film that was eventually made. I know it's not an original take, but Nicholas Winding Refn would have killed it if he were directing this. The salt-of-the-earth protagonist and the bold, colourful imagery seem right up his alley. The film seems to demonstrate to the audience the destructive nature of gambling, the meaninglessness of the pursuit for the fleeting high of winning, but the Baccarat scenes are easily the scenes where the film finds its identity. The pacing, the sheer fun and joyfulness of the game are presented through the aforementioned distorted lenses which, yes, it's meant to comment on the ugliness of gambling, complement the subjective euphoria which Lord Doyle experiences when he plays. Thus, by the time the film is over, it comes off as a fun roller coaster, portraying gambling through the subjective perspective, heightening the highs of playing and, more importantly, winning. I know that's not the intended message of the film, but given how the scenes that feel the most alive are the Baccarat scenes, I'll take what I've been given and enjoy the sparkling colours and moving camera I've been provided. Ballad of a Small Player? 3 stars. Well, that's all. Keep on watching movies and form your own opinions. See you in the next one.